Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Bosnail, first and foremost, Justin Duso, Joseph Pizarro, Samson, Maris, Harry Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Chris Hillman, NA Literalist, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Rob H, Nathan Thompson, The Real Gabster, Windrider, Missouri Bear, Liam Nedrick, Erwin Jennisons, Abraham Mohammed, Dave Rakia Gafford, Naibai, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, Fireball X, Felix Hung, Texas Mike, Edwin Johnson, Kirsten Smith, Alexander Main, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. I'm going to pass over to whoever is in Discord and G+, so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
How's he going to know once he's dead anyway where his body's going?
That's a good question. I didn't ask him. Don, how you know where your body's going to go if you're dead?
I have people to oversee such tasks.
Oh, you have people to oversee such tasks. Okay. NASA's stealing your money.
And you can trust these people that are overseeing your dead body?
On a piss.
Mic check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I hung up by accident.
Yeah. No, I dropped. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, today I'm back in the city because this guy supposedly had work. Now he's telling me we're just going to look at the job today. Really? Freaking 3 hours it takes me to get here. We're going to look at a job.
It's going to take 5 minutes to look at.
Yeah, it's a sizable job. You know, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-story building. You know, so
yeah,
they're doing VCT, vinyl composition floor, rubber planks, and vinyl planks. So I mean, it's a sizable job.
Yeah, sounds expensive.
Yeah, it's a construction site. So I don't know. It's the first time I'm working with this guy, not the Jamaican guy, this other guy, and already I got a bad taste because he's thinking there's no work today. You know, he wants to just look at the job. Look at it. I'm freaking here. Let's start putting this shit in.
Good morning. So you went to look at a job? You went to look at a job?
I'm looking at it. Well, I've been parked here since 7 o'clock in the morning. The guy is still not here. The guy whose job it is. My Jamaican friend, I'm with him, and he's waiting for the guy. I already got a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, not too responsible there.
You?
Well, as long as he's paying you.
No, I'm not getting paid for today. Today's a wash.
No, just give him a bill. We
Yeah,
were here at 7. Give him a bill.
That's called lost time. But the guy, my Jamaican friend, I was telling Flatzoid, he's upset about this flat Earth because he wants to get, when he dies, he wants to get shot out into space, and he's already put money down on it.
Well- Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
just tried to
That's
explain the
hilarious.
gas pressure thing to him, but he ain't getting it.
Wow. It-
Yeah, he thinks that he goes, yes, but I'm sure there's another way that it could work.
Okay.
No. You can't have gas pressure without it being contained. And if we're a globe without a barrier, and there's a vacuum of space next to us,
Time to look into his religion.
can't.
Well, we could always build him a vacuum chamber, and we can put him in the vacuum chamber where there is no air.
Well, you know what happens? I
Rastafarians
noticed too,
believe we live on a flat earth.
because my
Who's talking?
wife.
Well,
my
hang
wife-
on, Neil. Hang on, Neil. Someone's trying to say something. Who's that talking?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it was
what's his
Ryan.
name?
I was
He
just
said we
saying.
live on a
I was
flat
just
Earth.
saying that Rastafarians believe that we live on a flat earth.
Yeah, he doesn't. Listen. You know what happens? It happens to my wife too. Every now and then, she's like, "But all these people that are scientists and you know, I'm sure they're not. What are they stupid? They don't know what they're talking about."
Appeal to what?
Yeah, that's appealing to the education system and
Authority.
was it consensus authority?
Yep. Well, it's like all the news media right now saying,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, Biden won and everything, no cheating, and then whole counties are being flipped, and people in the smaller races like Senate and Assemblymen or whatever they are, they're being
Yep.
Yeah, the losers are winning and the winners are lost now. So when they go to recount, it all flips.
Yeah. So now I told everybody stand by and just watch. The Trump train is rolling. But anyway, with this guy, he's he can't get past that cognitive diss, you know, because he knows I've been at this for years. I've been on jobs before I was, discording and gone into G plus. I used to just listen to the show on Discord. I'd have it on with my Bose speaker, and everybody heard it on the job site.
Cool.
So he knows I've been into this for years.
All right. Well, tell him he won't know the difference where he's buried when he dies.
Yeah, he knows that. He knows that. But yeah. Hey, listen, it may always be this way. I think Nathan's right about that. This charade may be, always. And
Well, there's a lot of people out there, and those that have ears will hear, and those that don't won't. Simple as that.
can you imagine another 25 years go by and nothing's done in space? You think they'll start to wait a second here? You think it'll start to click, or you think they'll still be brain dead?
Well, look at how they trick people with just movies and special effects. So what if what if the next thing is to pretend an alien comes from space to visit us, and we're no longer looking at space, we're looking at the so-called alien? Who cares? We know that they can't even answer the housekeeping question. So whoever wants to say it's real, come and answer these housekeeping questions. Set us straight, please.
Yeah, my wife was trying to tell me yesterday that because when we talk about the bridge or something, and I brought up the Verrazano Bridge, chocolate, and my wife said, "Well, I did see it curved," and I'm like, "Say, so you're telling me the bridge curved, and that's all Earth curve is right there?"
Well, bridges have curves to them, but Earth doesn't have a curve.
No, she said when she was looking out as I was driving,
Yeah,
it seemed to curve out there.
I've seen boats float in the air when I've looked at the mirages and different things. So yeah, it's all optical.
Yeah, I think it's just the way we see too. Because I look out, and I can kind of see what she's talking about, but I know how optics work.
Yep. Look at when you look down the highway on a hot day with the heat on
absolutely.
That tells you right there.
Yeah, they hijacked perspective, didn't they?
That's it. They totally hijacked perspective. We already know that the Earth is a physical shape. We already know that. Now they say it's a sphere that's physical. We say, great, what's the radius? 3959. Okay, so we got the radius, we know the circumference. Math is simple from this point on. At what elevation should the horizon be at what distance? Well, at 1 foot elevation, the curve of this physical Earth, if it was a sphere, has to start curving away from you, no further than 1.22 miles. Okay, let's go check it out. Here's a couple of oil platforms way past 1.22 miles. Let's get down to 1 foot and let's see the curve start blocking them, which is horizon. The horizon is the Earth curve. So, the horizon's behind the oil platforms. Shouldn't it be in front? Bye-bye globe. This is where Sensible said, at best, you've proven that we got the radius wrong.
There was a guy on
disproven
Discord
radius.
swearing that he sees the horizon in front of the platforms. I'm like,
sure.
you're just being dishonest now.
Yeah, that's funny. He sees a wave. He sees water, but not the horizon.
They don't know what a horizon is.
Can I ask what I'm looking at in Nathan? What is that picture? What is that showing me?
That's Mr. Sensible.
That's the ball.
That's Mr. Sensible showing us what a physical geometric sphere edge looks like.
Really?
Yeah, really. I was chuckling away while you were talking about him, knowing that his picture was on screen. I was looking at it thinking,
That's funny.
I wasn't even looking at the screen till he asked the question.
Yeah, because I'm like, what am I looking at here? What is this supposed to be?
Yeah, he was showing you what an edge of a ball looks like by way of reification. He thinks the horizon is the same physical sphere edge obstruction.
Oh, funny days, man.
And his name is Mr. Sensible? I think it should be Mr. Senseless.
At that.
It's too much comedy,
radio.
man. Best comedy hour in the morning right here. Oh, too funny, man.
So Ed Freeze came in again with his stupid nonsense yesterday, huh?
Yep.
I hate that guy.
No, he's good for the show.
Yeah. We gotta get at him. I gotta get at him again. I gotta ask him if he could do the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote with this guy Ed Freeze.
Right. It's great because this is the best the ballers can do. It's great. I mean, they come in, they don't even answer a question, and they ask a question before the question that was posed to them is even answered by them. It's like, wait a minute, can you first answer this question before we go to your question and concede, or will concede if you prove us wrong? Someone concede before we move on to a second question.
There'll never be a concession, and he'll constantly say Nathan Fundy mutes him.
Oh, no, Nathan mutes him because he's out of line.
No, but when he's accusing him of being muted, he's not muted.
I know. He's talking and saying he's muted. Oh, got me laughing too much this
I don't understand what
morning.
he's thinking when he comes in here with those tactics.
He's trying to be a rumpus. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be a rumpus.
He just rubs me the wrong way.
Well, look, you got Rumpus the other day saying, if you're running on a train, whoa, what does a train have to do with Coriolis?
So you're running inside a closed system? Go on.
What does it even have to do with Coriolis? I don't understand where he's going with this. It's an optical illusion.
It has nothing to do with Coriolis, but he wants to run on a train.
Let's see what they got today. Let's see if there's any ballers out there that can answer one of our housekeeping questions. I'm still waiting.
Is your friend in the car listening to the show right now?
No, he stepped out. I don't know where he is. Trying to look for the guy, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah, they always obfuscate and change the Coriolis argument. Instead of from the observer on the ground, it's always from another angle that they answer that question.
Yeah. I remember that day with Zanuck when that went on for about over an hour. And that's when Nathan really got his argument really defined.
Yep. Well,
And
the more you let him talk,
the same since.
No, yeah, the more you let him talk, the more you realize how far they went off track, and then that was that and some other days. But
yeah,
you know, I never took it to the depth of Nathan did when all that happened. I just knew it was one of my favorite arguments, because if the Earth is turning, then it's turning under everything, and I kept it simple. But Nathan had to go in the weeds, and when he went in the weeds, he found some real good arguments there, didn't he?
Yeah, it's so sharp now, that argument.
Oh, it's slam dunk.
It could cut to a rock.
Yep, slam dunk now.
Yeah, well, they double speak everything. That's all they ever do.
But the funny thing
like I was
is,
on,
they still say Nathan has no idea what the Coriolis effect is.
They're projecting.
I have the same problem with my debate against Fight a Flat Earth. They tell me everything I said is wrong. I say, okay, tell me what I said is wrong. And it goes on for about an hour, and still no, I haven't got one thing to tell me what I said is wrong. It's the same thing. They're just projecting because they don't actually understand the argument. So they want to tell you don't understand. And when asked them, okay, then explain it, they can't explain it.
Yep. Hey, Brian.
Hey everybody, how are things?
Good.
What's up, Brian?
What's new with you, buddy?
Not much. I got that COVID. Getting over it though.
So you got the flu bug, huh?
Yeah. A few days just sleeping a lot, all that kind of thing. So, but it's not too bad.
Whoa, what'd you say? You got COVID?
Yeah, you got a flu bug.
Flu bug. That's so. I'm presuming it's COVID because my friend had it, and he was here, and he didn't realize he had it, and he tested positive for it afterwards. And since he was here, I've been sick, and my friend is sick. So, but it's no big deal. It's just like any other thing.
It's a flu bug.
If you're very old, sorry.
It's a flu bug.
Yeah.
They're just calling it COVID.
Sorry to interrupt.
Exactly what you just said. If you're old, because that's how my mother-in-law died
Guys,
a couple of years ago.
I'm really sorry
she got
to
the flu.
interrupt. Sorry, I know you're really up for discussing the sniffles and all. Can one of you who's got a connection to a PC just do a quick favour for me? Can you go onto YouTube and just search Jeranism, please? One of you do that, if you have capabilities.
Yeah. Are any of you on the PC? Because I can open up one now here.
You could, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. Thank you.
Okay.
You know there's nothing there, though, right, Nathan?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's all deleted.
He took his channel.
It's like a week ago.
Yeah, he explained why he did it.
Why?
Something where they were gonna give him a strike or something, or take him down anyway. So he was trying to. He was explaining on the last Globebusters, but he did. It's not there no more. Jeranism.
Hey, Nathan, I just typed in Jeranism. I got jeranism.com, and it's his own website. And in there, the second video says, "What happened to my YouTube channel?" And it's a video. So if you want to go to Jeranism.
Yeah, he did say he was going to put something on there to explain it.
So he's got a .com site.
Okay, I'll have to go and check it out. That's very disappointing. I was going to plug his channel today. That's why I asked. So I brought up his channel thinking, great, I'll just pick a random video. And there's nothing there. I'm like,
it happened to me the other day.
It's been about a week since I've looked at Jeranism's channel. So obviously I'm not that up to date with Jeran, and I didn't know that. But that's slightly heartbreaking.
I'll put it in Master B for the link for you.
Oh, okay. I'll check out
Okay,
what he's
there
got
it
to
is.
say. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff going on these days. So everyone's moving from these to different platforms to other platforms, anticipating as well as being shut down and then moving. So it's happening. They're trying to stop the content.
What content? What was he?
All
talking
kinds
about?
of content.
Let's not
all kinds
speculate.
of, it's not
I'll check
just,
it out. I'll check it out. I don't
Well,
want to speculate.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, even if you abide by all the rules, if they want, they can just shut you down.
Right, well, I'd rather be on a positive start to the show. So the two channels that I'm going to be promoting today, I mean, Jeranism played a big part in my initial journey into this subject. Him and the original person that actually woke me up to the subject, Math Powerland, were going to be next on the list. So that's a bit disappointing. But, I mean, obviously you guys have heard of Math Powerland. And the other person that I'll do today is Quantum Eraser. So just so you know, I'll plug both Quantum Eraser and Math Powerland during the live show.
Good.
Cool bean.
I'll figure out what to plug for Jeremy. May or may not need stuff plugging. So I'll either contact him and say, look, what can I do to plug whatever means you're now putting your content out by? And if I can help, I'll plug that.
Well, if it's got his own website, if you click on that, and if that's legit, which I think it is, because it takes you to all his videos,
Perfect.
plug his website.
I'll plug his website.
Yeah, because they can still find him there.
Perfect. Okay. That's jeranism.com, right?
Correct. I posted the link in Master B. Just click on it. And you can check it out.
Okay, let's just do that now. I'll just bring it up and stick it on the screen in preparation.
Yeah, I'd say the Coriolis argument, we welcome it from anybody at this moment. So bring it.
Okay.
Sharp as a tack, that Coriolis argument.
Yeah, it's getting fun, isn't it? I finally started to actually enjoy Coriolis arguments now. First time ever. Because it's
awesome.
so concise.
It's like you're like a ninja. You're like a ninja with several daggers. They come here, you throw 3 from there, and they come there, you throw 6 from this side. It's like wow.
Nathan's a Coriolis Jedi, but it started that day with Zanuck. After that long day with Zanuck, it's been like steel, the Coriolis argument.
Been downhill for them ever since. So no drift. Thanks, Dan.
Virus.
And thanks, Virus.
Molly Cyrus on her wrecking ball had to be one of the best days ever.
Oh, Miley Cyrus. I thought you said Virus because he recently was trying to qualify the non-drift drift that you can think of as a drift but isn't really a drift because you don't see it. But obviously Miley Cyrus was me saying, you know, you can be observing things from any reference frame you like. But Coriolis is only observed as you rotate underneath, right? Well, Miley Cyrus was prior to my appreciation that they've swindled the reference frames and are always talking about actual trajectories of planes and things when Coriolis is observed from the ground as you turn underneath stuff. And Rumpus came in recently saying he didn't like it or it was messy or something like that when I say Earth is claimed to turn underneath. They obviously don't like it having clarity brought to it because they need to convolute the fact that Earth's supposed to be turning underneath when we show that it doesn't. And they need to be able to reasonably seem to be defending the fact that it shouldn't be turning underneath when they claim it should be. Well, that needs to be kept in confusion. And clarity is being brought by, 15 degrees an hour as Earth rotates underneath things not attached to it to show them drift at 15 degrees an hour. You think that's a messy description? Oh, right. I better say it over and over then. You don't like that because that's your claim. It just doesn't happen.
Well, it started with R.C. Meisty. He didn't want to admit to that.
Yeah, he didn't want to say that the correction he's saying the projectile, again, nothing to do with Coriolis, is making. It wouldn't concede the fact that they're having to correct for the claim that Earth's turning underneath the plane. Of course, as soon as he says, yeah, they're correcting for Earth turning underneath the plane, then Earth's turning underneath planes, and then that would shorten flight times. But of course, he can't say that, because even though he's trying to claim we've got deviation or drift or whatever he wants to use that's not simply asserting that Earth's supposed to be turning underneath the plane, because as soon as he says that, you can say Earth isn't turning under planes. So your claim is debunked. But you'd rather say, no, what I'm saying is if it travels west, it's retaining inertial velocity. Make it confusing. Like, no, that's not Coriolis effect. Coriolis effect is merely you turning underneath something, watching it seem to drift.
Yeah, it's amazing that Coriolis all the time was used because it was based on Earth turning. In fact, all of Coriolis citations, everything that you read is about Earth turning, or else you wouldn't have a Coriolis citation. And now they're walking it back and saying, well, Earth isn't turning underneath.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, that's being...
Barry has an interview with a hot air balloon controller. He only put out recently.
Yeah, we read that yesterday. He don't know
Did
what
you?
he's talking
Sorry.
about either, that guy.
I'm not up to date, so forget it.
That's all good, Brian. I'm
Yeah,
more than
it's-
happy to go over things that you haven't necessarily watched on the endless streams that I do, so don't worry.
I listened to yesterday's show. I listened to yesterday's show, but because I listened to it in bits and pieces, I was falling asleep and waking up and listening to it and falling asleep and waking up. So I listened to a 2-hour show over the course of about 12 hours. So
Did you catch the end
Yeah, I
of
did,
yesterday? When you say yesterday's show, do you mean yesterday's Uncut and After show on the second channel, Nathan Oakley?
yes, it would have been yesterday's Uncut and After show. Yeah.
So,
Did you catch the
Brian,
end?
if you squeeze in 2 hours and 12 hours, what does that tell you about time, space, and time?
Like, did you catch the end of that show, Brian?
Oh, well, I do remember when Quantum Eraser came in towards the end, but I don't remember anything in particular. But my memory is bad.
That's okay. That's okay. So right at the end, there was a a very embarrassing moment, or several, for Rumpus, where he failed to describe the motion of a pendulum correctly. It was hysterical.
Oh, I did. Oh, you're going to want to hear this. Are you still there?
Yeah.
He went into Ranty's that night. After that, not last night, but the night before, he went into Ranty's after getting absolutely humiliated by you on the show, you and Kiwi on the show, and started asserting the Foucault pendulum as a proof of Earth turn again. And he had to do it because he made such a fool of himself on your show.
Yeah.
On
I've trimmed that out, so I'm going to release that later on today, maybe after this show. I'll see how it goes. Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Neil, Brian, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hey.
From New York.
Hello, everybody.
Live from New York. and Leamington Spa. So before we get into housekeeping today, I'm going to do a couple of quick promotions. One with a little bit of a heavy heart, I've got to be honest. So I went this morning to check out some of the earlier influences on my journey through Flat Earth, and one of the first names that sprang to mind was Jaren. And Jarenism channel was the first one I went to go and grab a video so I could share a link to that. And unfortunately, there wasn't one. So the channel is now empty, it seems. It's still there, but it doesn't actually have anything I can actually share with you other than a link to his website. So after a bit of discussion amongst the panel, that's what I'm going to promote. So Jaren's still got all his information. It's still there. It's at jarenism.com. So go and check out Jarenism's website. He's got plenty of stuff, including what happened to my channel, which I'm yet to watch. So I only found this out today, heartbreaking though it is. So big shout out to Jaren, who's a massive influence over me. I'm sure he's not dead. He's still around. This isn't a eulogy. It's just to say he's obviously moving platforms or in transition at the moment because his YouTube channel appears to be empty. So go and check out his website, which he's definitely well on top of by the looks of things. This is his website on screen for the audience right now, so let's just make that a bit clearer. So this is jarenism.com. Check out his material, which is there in bulk, looking shiny and new. So there's all of his stuff, Jarenism Live. Obviously there'll be Raw on there and various other stuff. I noticed his Raw channel is still there, so he has still got a presence on YouTube to some extent, it seems, on his Raw channel, which is got considerably less support, but nevertheless it is a channel that you can check out on YouTube to get a bit of Jaren if you need it. But Jarenism was a massive influence on me, so he still is, and it's a bit disappointing to see he's not on YouTube for whatever reason at the moment, and I'm looking forward to finding out why on his website, which I've put a link to in the live chat. So check out Jarenism's website. That's www.jarenism.com. Next, we've got Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. So this is Quantum Eraser. Again, another massive influence slightly later in my journey, but he obviously appears on the panel, and I'm looking to pay it forward and obviously ask a lot of people who are watching to go and subscribe to these people. So I'm going to share their links on this particular live stream, and if I am around when I'm watching the Uncut and After show, I'll also do the same there and share the links to these particular YouTubers' channels so you can go and subscribe immediately. Now, as it stands, I think Quantum Eraser's on about 2,000 subscribers, or maybe 2,500 subscribers. I could be wrong. Let's have a look. Oh no, I'm completely wrong. 3.3 thousand subscribers. But there's definitely more people here than there are there. So there's obviously people not subscribed, and Quantum Eraser's content is exceptional. You should be subscribed if you're not already. So go and subscribe to the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. Last but by no means least was the person who woke me up to Flat Earth, Math Powerland. So his channel, formerly known as the NASA channel, is now renamed Math Powerland, or his name, or his namesake. That's this guy. Let's see if I can play you a bit of this particular video, see what it's got to say.
Adjective for what you're trying to push on me, a shape. You're pushing an adjective. Say it. Come on, say it. You can't say it. Your jaw's locked. It sounds stupid. Go ahead, say the shape. Say that you don't believe the Earth is a ball. Doesn't make so. Then you say you don't believe the Earth is a globe. Then it has some sort of legitimacy, right? Because then you said globe. That's the world, right? Because there's no other ball-shaped thing that means world except globe.
That's Math Powerland. Again, I will spam links to his channel, so go and subscribe today. He is, as far as I'm concerned, the longest standing person in this arena to be positively promoting the subject of Flat Earth. So check out Math Powerland's channel. And that's pretty much it. Those are my three promotions. I'll just round them off again. So Jarenism on jarenism.com. That's his website. Go and check it out immediately. Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. Links, second set of links. There's 2 links for Quantum Eraser channel. So go and subscribe to him. And last but by no means least, Math Powerland, the person who originally woke me up to this subject. So check them all out. There's links to all of them in the live stream chat. That's pretty much it. Anyone want to add anything on those 2 or 3 YouTubers? 2 YouTubers? Whichever way you want to look at it.
Those are 3 heavyweights you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The 3 heavyweights.
Yeah. Yeah, just share, subscribe, and get everybody to subscribe everywhere. The more content you can subscribe to, the more the word gets out.
Indeed. Hopefully that'll...
Yeah, Jaren was big in my coming around to Flat Earth, too. As a matter of fact, that's how I found your channel, because I would listen to him on Globusters, and then he would have a show with David Weiss, and that's when
Yeah.
David Weiss mentioned your channel, and that's how I found you, Nathan.
Well, that's exactly it. There may not be people here aware of Jaren. I highly doubt it. If you're a long-time subscriber, you'll know who Jaren is, but there are new people who come here that may not have ever heard of him. Why would they? If they've just come to this subject and stumbled on my video, they might not know about Jaren, and they should. So it's worth promoting. Same thing applies to Jaren's now YouTube resident home, I suppose, Globebusters, because that's where you can get your fill of Jaren every Sunday. So Globebusters is still going to be a home for Jaren, I hope. So you'll still be able to get your fill of him there, and on obviously his website, which I've just promoted. So Quantum Eraser couldn't get any more heavyweight than that.
I remember watching the Matt Powerland in the early days when he was on stage doing some kind of a stage routine with this whole debate. I found it pretty funny.
Yeah,
and informative.
With his T-shirt, putting a cutout, a circular cutout on a paint spattered T-shirt, and going, "What planet's this?"
He had sunglasses on. He's smoking a cigarette. He's like a nightclub act or something. It was funny.
Epic. Right, that's my promotion. That's my fill for the day. Any evidence?
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Chocolate.
Hey, Choco.
Hey, Choc.
Just in time for housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? Earth curve horizon.
Not from Seaside Wilderness Park.
How can they have a curve? How can they have a curve if they're throwing away the horizon as well?
They can't. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No, not of the Earth-based variety. The 15 degrees deviation is not able to be proven caused by Earth turning, but we do have the sun moving overhead by 15 degrees.
Can't even observe.
Irrelevant.
Right.
According to Rumpus, there is no way to actually tell whether it's us moving or the sun.
I showed it was us moving.
Hold on.
Is he trying to quote Einstein?
I'm not going to leave that out there. Hold on. Can you repeat that, Brian?
Yeah, according to Rumpus, so what I heard him say there recently on Ranty's channel is that there was no way there was no way for them to tell whether it was us moving or the sun. And Foucault's pendulum proved that it was us. That's what he said the other night.
Us
after
what?
being on
Hold on.
your show earlier that day.
Brian, string the sentence out a little bit more. Us what? Claimed to be us what? Foucault showed us what?
Sorry. Rumpus claims that Foucault's pendulum proved that we were moving and not the sun.
So it's claimed by Foucault pendulum that Earth rotates underneath the back and forth motion of the pendulum to demonstrate apparent deviation at 15 degrees an hour. Or, to put it more simply, Foucault is claiming Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour.
Yes.
Well, if Earth turns underneath a pendulum at 15 degrees an hour as a second non-inertial spinning reference frame, then flight times would be reduced because Earth would be turning underneath them. And you'd throw a ball in the air on the equator and it would fly away from you at 1,000 miles an hour as you rotated underneath it. So Earth does not rotate underneath. Bullets, footballs, pendulums, gyroscopes, hot air balloons, aeroplanes, Earth does not rotate underneath, as is claimed by Foucault.
And Rumpus.
No, Rumpus simultaneously came here to deny that Earth rotation underneath was an accurate description. He said it was sloppy, even though it's precisely what Foucault is claiming. But we just don't have that effect demonstratable in anything other than a sloppy claim using a pendulum moving back and forth, and according to them, appearing to drift because it's claimed Earth's turning underneath it. And as I say, if Earth is turning underneath a pendulum, we've got a second non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath things not attached. And you'd notice that Your flight time would be reduced. Your ball would fly away at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. A drone would whiz away from you as it hovers in the air, as Earth turned underneath it. But that simply doesn't happen. So Rumpus had to come here to deny their claim on the globe side that Earth turns underneath the Foucault pendulum. We just don't see any other effects that would exhibit drift. Nothing's drifting away from us.
Well, a few hours later, he changed his mind on that on Ranty's channel and decided to assert that Foucault's pendulum is the reason why now we supposedly know that the Earth is rotating and moving and not the sun. So if he told you it was sloppy, it's funny because his attitude was completely different some hours later on that same evening.
Well, that's because Nathan stopped him and held him to his words where he contradicted himself. But when he goes on another show and isn't stopped, he just gets to ramble on.
It's been edited down. Some of the swearing removed. For the intro at least. So that'll go out probably after this show. So if you're watching live, I'm more likely than not going to turn these live shows off from here on in. I've been doing that more and more and more. So once this goes out, shortly afterwards, the live show won't be reachable by anybody else. So the majority of people will either become a member, it is financially motivated, I'm not going to lie, or watch it the following day on the weekdays. So this show will be available on Thursday if you're not a member on the second channel. So if you're like, oh, I'll pay for this stuff, well, you don't have to. You just go to the second channel, there's a link below the live show, go and subscribe there, and the full Uncut and After show will be published the following day, except over the weekend, which then moves over to the main channel, because I don't broadcast live on the main channel. So go and subscribe to my second channel, or become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and you can watch this stuff immediately. As soon as it goes out, I immediately put it out to members. And in the case of that particular discussion, again, it came out yesterday, but it will just disappear into the massive numbers. But if you remember, you'd find it immediately. Anyway, the point is that I'll trim out that, or I have trimmed it out. I've published it, not yet, but when you're watching this on a re-up, it will have been. But yeah, so check it out. I'm going to call it something like best toe tag ever, or something like that, because it was extremely embarrassing for Rumpus, who was more than content to demonstrate his own stupidity by deliberately or unintentionally, it doesn't matter either way, not knowing how a pendulum works, because that's what's being utilised to claim Earth turns underneath. Pendulum moves back and forth. Foucault claims Earth turns underneath, so it looks like it's moving round and round. Not because it is moving round and round, it's only an apparent deflection, according to Foucault description. It's claimed Earth turns underneath. What's that, Rumpus, I hear? A sloppy description? No, that's just the claim. That's what causes Coriolis. You can have it on a roundabout. The roundabout turns underneath, stuff not attached. And it's claimed Earth turns underneath, stuff not attached. Of course, we'd have to observe stuff drifting away from us, if that was the case. And it never happens. So you need a bit of confusion and doublespeak to come into the equation, don't you now, lads? Thanks, Dan, for making it so clear that we don't have any drift. Reference frame's ruined, right?
But from a pseudo-Riemannian force-based perspective, Rumpus was kind of right, though.
You owe me $6 million to use that.
Yeah. Just hoping.
Well, let me tell you the effects these little snippets that you put out, Nathan, have. See, when you take this Rumpus interview that hasn't come out but will come out, but I was there when it happened, so I know how I felt when I heard it. You get a trench baller so twisted within his own misspeak that he's actually arguing both sides at the same time. He's trying to make one side work. So if someone who's a normie listens to this, they're going to say, oh my gosh, that guy's crazy. Yeah, but that guy has your position, and he's one of their best arguers.
I've literally done that. I've had people listen to people like Rumpus and Zanuck, and coworkers will look at me. They'll give me a face like, is this person for real? Or is this scripted? Is this person actually arguing for the globe? And I'll have to tell them, like, yeah, this is not scripted. These people come in and are trying to argue for the globe. And they're like, but why do they sound so ridiculous? Why are they saying things like that? And I said, well, they're the ones fighting for your side. You tell me. I don't know. I can't help you with that.
In case anybody's wondering, right, the little excerpt I released yesterday where I plug Martin Leitker and Arwin, and who else did I plug on that? Oh yeah, Taboo Conspiracy Ben. It wasn't that we had a flux capacitor and we've broadcast that from the future. Chocolate just repeated himself. I just want to make that clear.
Could I give the ballers some advice?
You can give them advice. They may not accept it. Try all you like, John.
If from their perspective, the best thing they can do is just not engage anymore and hope they don't look any dumber. Just give up.
Not possible.
Agreed.
We've got something to share.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I put out hello. I put out a video on my channel. Subscribe to Chris Berry today. Called "Interview with a Hot Air Balloonist as Earth Spins." So I called this local guy who is a hot air balloonist, and he flies the balloon. So obviously, if you want to find out what he says, you can go to my channel and watch the video. And someone named Samuel Robotham, fake name, obviously, said, "Good stuff, Chris." So he says, "The balloon pilot just confirmed to you exactly what should and does happen. The Earth, the air, and the balloon are all turning together. And in this example, there would be no discernible difference in a stationary Earth and a spinning Earth, which is why the drone balloon argument is pointless." So again, that's psychology 101 doublespeak. There's no discernible difference between the stationary Earth and a spinning Earth. Well, how convenient is that when you're trying to prove spin to say, well, it's not going to appear to spin. Are you crazy?
Yeah, that's a level of insanity that I think people have to deal with.
Yeah, Chris, because he knows if he has to say that you can observe the drift, then they're going to have a problem because they can't observe it. So it doesn't matter which way they turn to.
But that's the thing, right? They'll call you crazy for saying that it's not spinning, but at the same time they'll tell you, "Oh, but we can't tell if it's spinning or not." Like, what?
Yeah,
and it's not faith-based.
The problem you have is that you expect to see this Earth rotation. Don't be expecting to see it. It just happens. That's all you need to know.
It's all
so this is where this is how low they've gone now, right? So they say the Foucault pendulum is no longer what it's purported to be if that guy's saying what he's saying now.
I'm trying to get your video to look nice on screen, and I'm really struggling, Chris. I don't know why. Anyway, I'll share it. So this video is called "Interview with a Hot Air Balloonist. Does Earth Spin?" ? So
It's just because when I upload audio only, you have to add some sort of video element. So I just added a picture, and it's like a really wide picture, but it's not very tall, so it's probably messing up the screen size for some reason.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on? I've tried about 6 different formats. I'm like, normally I'm pretty sharp with this stuff. What's going on? Anyway, there's a link to Chris Berry's channel in the info box right now. Not in the info box, in the live stream chat right now. So check out his channel. Again, go and subscribe to Chris Berry. He's got a wonderful channel. Does a lot of practical stuff. So go and subscribe to him. I'll put a link in the live chat.
Hey, Chris, can I ask you a question? Let me ask Chris a question. So if the Earth and the balloon and the air are all moving as one, how come the driver on the ground with the truck is rushing to go where the balloon lands, which is different than when it took off?
Oh, because of the wind.
But that's air.
Right, exactly.
But
it's air.
You do
so
know
if you listen to
everything is moving. You do know if everything is moving with the Earth and you go up and go in the opposite direction, you're going to have a much more faster acceleration because you're just getting the opposite way of the turning.
No, but the guy told Chris that Earth and the balloon and the air are moving as one. Now, when you say three things are moving as one, there's no deviation. It
Right,
should
then-
go up and land right where it went up.
Yeah, so no drift then. Sorry, Chris, you said if you listen to the video I've got it all queued up if you want to tell me a particular place to listen to.
Oh well, no, I don't have that all memorized. I didn't do timestamps, but the guy basically said first of all, you can play the first say 30 seconds, and because I asked him out at the gate, do you take, I don't know if I said Coriolis or Earth spin into effect, and he said no, absolutely not, or something like that. First of all, and then at some point in the video, he talks about how. Okay, just play it.
Hello, Dominic.
Skip to like 15,
Brian?
20 seconds, I guess.
Hey, Brian. My name's Chris. I was just calling. I actually had a couple questions, if I could. Are you one of the, I don't know what to call you, a balloonist, or are you one of the people who flies the balloons?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're a hot air balloon ride operator.
Right. So, just to be upfront, I mean, I don't have any interest in getting a ride, but I did, like I said, have a couple questions around some of the physics of the hot air balloon ride, if that makes it sound strange. But basically, and if you don't mind, a couple minutes here, I'm looking for a way to detect the motion of the Earth, right? So I'll just be upfront about it. So my understanding is in a hot air balloon, you could go up and hover, kind of pretty much as long as you wanted, right? I'm sure there's a little bit of movement with wind and things, but do you account for the motion, the spin of the Earth?
No, I don't think any of that would ever apply to hot air balloon. I mean, we float wherever the wind takes us at different speeds. Today we traveled over about an hour, about maybe 17, 18 miles, and up and down. And I don't know how any of that would work. But no, and the wind is just different speeds and directions at different altitudes.
So it's really more up to the wind as far as where you kind of move and things.
Yeah, we go wherever the wind takes us and at whatever speed it takes us to.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Chris. So check it out. I'll just.
That's not a demolishment.
1 second. I just spam the link to that particular video as well. So check it out. Give it a like. Put a comment on it. Tell him how the balloon guy doesn't realise Earth's turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour, like Foucault says.
Right. So they go where the wind takes them in any direction, whatever speed.
My favourite part of Chocolate was when he said, it just wind's going all different directions.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, if you keep listening, he tries, you can tell he's sort of, wanting the spin to be a part of it. So he does say something like, oh, but the winds are dictated by the spin, blah, 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 right? I mean, he's no expert, I can tell. So he is trying to formulate some type of hypothesis around like, oh, because of this, that, sort of thing. But you can tell he's just saying that because of
Have you heard of
right?
the Coriolis effect?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you've heard of it. I mean, assuming you know what that is. So you don't account for the Coriolis, meaning if the Earth is spinning under you and you're above the Earth, floating, so to speak, in the balloon, that doesn't really play into effect of how you control it, or you're not worried about that or anything like that, I guess.
Absolutely not. No, it's we float with the wind, and now it does kind of show its face, I believe, in a way with regards to wind direction at different altitudes, like friction. As the wind is, say you have a south wind and high pressure, that low level wind kind of curves to the left a little bit. Now a lot of that has to do with pressure gradients, temperature inversion, and all that. But Coriolis force, I believe, has a play in it.
Right.
And then you got to go up, turn right, that type of deal. But no, I mean, if anything, it helps us to be able to steer. By steer, I mean catching wind currents at different altitudes.
Right, catching the different wind currents. So.
Okay. So yeah, he's trying to describe Coriolis as though it's a force that can actually act on the balloon, when in reality Coriolis is observed from the ground as you rotate underneath stuff. So yeah, he's got a limited understanding of what Coriolis actually is if he thinks it's going to actually affect the balloon, because it's a not actual drift.
Correct. Yeah, and you know, again, if you listen, you can tell he's sort of trying to make it work. He's probably thinking, wait a minute, why don't I have to? Oh, it's because it's just affecting the wind, and the wind takes us wherever it takes us, right? So he's trying to combine the two to make sense in his own mind. Later on, he says that where they took off, where they landed was about 17. He says, about 17, 18 miles away. If you do, you know, I don't know the exact math because there's tangential math, there's angular math, whatever. But if you do 3959 and you divide it by, you know, whatever, 360 degrees, so 1 degree, or sorry, if you do it by 15 degrees, rather, 15 degrees was like 150 miles. And then he actually, and then I asked him what the longest air ride could be. He said about an hour and a half is probably your absolute max. So if you do, that's hour and a half is 22.5 degrees on their model. That's 246 miles worth of apparent drift. So
no, stop. Okay, gotta be careful with your terminology. No. That's 50. That's 200 and whatever miles of Earth turning underneath. The drift bit would be if you're observing the balloon from the ground, seeing it seem to curve away from you as you turn underneath it. So no, it's not drift when you describe what should happen on an Earth that turns. It's 250 miles travelled as Earth turned underneath the balloon. That's not apparent deflection, because that would be you observing it from the ground. I'm really sorry to be nitpicky.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, look, I get it. Right. So whatever is the correct way of saying it, 250 miles versus.
Let me tell you. 250 miles as Earth is claimed to turn underneath the balloon.
There you go.
Yeah, but Earth didn't turn under the balloon. He didn't move 250 miles. He moved about 15 with the wind, right?
Correct.
So,
and he doesn't take it into account.
Yeah, so it's claimed by Foucault Earth turns underneath as a separate reference frame at 15 degrees an hour. We get plenty of fundy commenters telling us it's proven. 15 degrees an hour drift. That's what they tell us. Well, that's things drifting away from you as you turn underneath them on a turning Earth, according to their claim. And Earth's not turning underneath hot air balloons. There is no drift observable from the ground. Anyone got anything more to add? Thank you, Chris. That was epic. Great interview.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was pretty dope, Chris. And I mean, I think clearly you could hear. I mean, I don't think he even thought about it until you brought it up. You know, the whole Earth spinning underneath the balloon. Especially when he's talking about how the winds are going in all different directions and stuff. It's like, he's actually, I mean, obviously, I don't want to define his thoughts, but I will a little bit. I think he was trying to work it out in his brain right there when he mentioned the Coriolis force and how that might have an effect in it. Like, I think he was just kind of just going for broke with it. But
right.
Yeah,
he was like you were saying. He just had to like quickly remember what he heard about it, you know, and you hear a lot of nonsense about it too. So
just going up and down and letting the wind take you.
Exactly. Nathan, if you can post what I put up in Master B for a minute.
Sure, it's on.
Wait.
Okay, so how much distance does a degree minute and a second cover on your maps? And so it says here, 1 degree of latitude equals approximately 364,000 feet, or 69 miles. 1 minute equals 6,068 feet, or 1.15 miles. And 1 second equals 101 feet. And on the longitude, 1 degree of longitude equals 280,200 feet, 54.6 miles. 1 minute equals 4,800 feet, or 0.91 mile, and 1 second equals 80 feet. So this is from a .gov site.
Wait until he realizes he can't see any curvature either. That's when it's going to be tricky.
So 1 second is 80 feet?
Yeah.
That don't happen.
Yeah. You throw a ball in the air, does it ever drift away from you? Or does it come straight back down to your hand at any latitude?
Comes right back down.
Yeah. Earth's not turning underneath
Well,
stuff
also
that's
the
not
fact
attached.
that
It's just that simple. And when we point out that stuff isn't turning underneath stuff not attached, they say, we don't like the way you describe Earth turning underneath. That's a sloppy description. No, that's Coriolis effect, and you claim it happens, it just doesn't.
Why would you
How
expect
do you
to see
steer a
drift?
hot air balloon? How do you
We
steer a
need to
hot
get
air
it out.
balloon when the wind is really traveling with the Earth?
There'd be no drift then. No 15 degrees an hour observable from the ground as Earth turns underneath the balloon. Yeah, no drift. They claim there's drift.
Sounds
Foucault's
good to me.
claiming Earth's turning underneath pendulums and gyroscopes. And we've got
Yeah, but even
apparent
when they-
drift
even when-
underneath
even when they
snipers.
claim that,
Go on, Neil.
sorry. Even when they claim that, how is the atmosphere or air moving with Earth?
Who cares? They claim there's drift at 15
not.
degrees an hour. So their fundamentalist claim that we should argue about not being any drift. Should we as flat earthers argue with them about how there should be drift? Because they're telling us there's no drift in that claim. So what, do we argue with them about what they should be claiming? Or do we just tell them no drift then? No 15 degrees an
No
hour
drift
drift as
then.
things turn underneath?
No, I agree. I agree, but it's asinine both ways.
No. They want us to fully define on a daily basis exactly of how their model is supposed to be so they can lay the blame on us, right? For basically telling it how it isn't, so they don't have to take that claim in their own spirit and they can just assert whatever nonsense they like. They believe in a globe, they don't know what it means. We do, so we then take the blame for the actual nonsense that they believe. They just don't want to realize it.
Yeah, the most recent person to step into this fray, and in entire defence of Simon Dan, is Craig, Fight the Flat Earth. So Flatsword recently released a video with him basically backing Dan and saying, don't you understand that the guy isn't drifting? And showing the exact same video. So, don't you understand, Fight the Flat Earth, that Foucault Pendulum is claiming Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour as a separate reference frame? Don't you understand how it's claimed we have drift as Earth turns underneath? Are you also as stupid as Simon Dan to assert single reference frame, Earth not turning underneath, Craig? So, no drift then. You're more than happy to put your stamp next to Simon Dan's stamp of idiocy, showing a man not drifting. Well, you're supposed to have 15 degrees an hour of it, my friend, second reference frame. And to Craig, from Dan, you and your reference frames have been ruined. You need Earth to turn underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour, and it does not. Maybe tell us all about how it doesn't, and we'll point out you need it to have 15 degrees drift. But like your man being towed by a tractor, he's not drifting. Yeah, he's supposed to show us things drift at 15 degrees an hour, though, not examples of things not drifting, as a justification for why we don't see Coriolis effect on an Earth that's spinning. It's not spinning. And with your examples that don't show drift, there'd be no difference between an Earth that's stationary and an Earth that's turning. Neither give you drift. And you're the ones that need 15 degrees of it, not us. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, but I still would like to know what it is.
Apparition. It's something you see, but can't truly pinpoint in Euclidean space. Because everybody sees it in a slightly apparently different location. Apparent.
Got to add something that was really important. Not about drift or housekeeping, but about my plug. So at the beginning of this live show, for people who didn't tune in, I plugged several channels. So Jaronism, Chris Berry, Quantum Eraser, and last but by no means least, Math Powerland. So if you do go and subscribe to all these people, I'm going to spam links to all of them right now. So this is Math Powerland's channel. Go and check him out. If you do, put a comment saying Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So going past in the live stream chat right now is a link to Math Powerland. If you're watching, go and leave a comment for Math, letting him know that I sent you to subscribe today. Same goes for Quantum Eraser. So Quantum Eraser, I plugged earlier. I just forgot to say this bit, the most critical bit. Make sure you tell them that I've sent you. So
Hey,
leave a comment
I
and
got
say,
several comments of subscribers that came because of your advertisement.
yes, excellent. So I know it's
Check out
working.
my comment.
It's worth knowing whether or not someone's come and subscribed. If they just put subbed, well, why? Did you come because you saw a link in a YouTube suggestion, or was it because Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me? So same goes for Quantum Eraser. So if you do go and subscribe today to Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, then leave him a little comment just saying Nathan sent me. Now I don't think that's possible with Jeranism, but unfortunately Jeranism doesn't have any videos on YouTube at the moment. I'm yet to actually watch his video, What Happened to My YouTube Channel, but this is his website all the same. So I'll copy the website address, and again, go and, if you can, leave a comment. I don't know if you can on his website. You might have a forum like I have on Nathan Oakley 1980, on NathanOakley.com, sorry. But yeah, if you can leave him a comment, just let him know I sent him your way. He's obviously still appearing on Globebusters on a Sunday. So that's Jeranism. And last but by no means least is actually on the panel right now. And of course, I can't get to his share button. Let's just resize this. Crazy video, Chris. Chris Berry, who is a very active participant in this discussion and is a very practical man. So he does lots of demonstrations on his channel. He's also got in touch with a balloonist. He's what we discussed earlier. Again, Chris, I know you're here. If you do go and leave a comment for Chris and subscribe today, let him know I sent you, because he won't know. That was it.
Even
That's
though
all.
he's here.
The 2 plugs, I forgot to do that both times. I've done it now, right in the middle of the show where it's least important. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No.
Nope.
Hell no.
No. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Surely there's got to be a glober who thinks that that's real life and can prove that.
Maybe you should ask a hot air balloonist about that one.
Yeah, right.
Racking my brain.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No.
What is gravity?
You could get some ideas about it from Arwin.
Me?
Yeah, why not?
I'm not opening all those cans just yet, but I'll give you exactly the history of it so far.
Yeah, feel free.
Right. Yeah, you have the Newtonian mechanics. That's kind of an outdated concept. Yeah, earlier physics attempt. Some of it is still legitimate, but yeah, the law system of it was too encapsulated. It doesn't really work. It basically bypasses physics concerning gases completely, which makes it invalid because gases are, of course, there. And so, yeah, at some point, I guess people kind of got disinterested with it, or it didn't really develop. And then Einstein came in and, yeah, they opened up a whole new conceptual medium of possibilities. And then all that started. And then, of course, they did not put giant disclaimer tags onto that every time, like, this is conceptual, this is not real. No, they didn't do that. So that culturally and through movies and radio talk, people talking about, eventually people started to automatically reify that in reality. Because why else would everybody be talking about it, right? And that's, yeah, now we're dealing with the remnants of all that.
So it's a reification fallacy.
Yep.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No.
They probably think they do, but when you test that, they find out that they don't even know what the scientific method is, although not all of them are unaware. Michio Kaku is very well aware of it. We all remember.
Shout out to Michio Kaku.
Shout out retracted.
I don't know.
Good
I
job.
like a hostile witness. Shout out to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That's a shout out retracted too.
Fair enough. Expand Your Mind 13 says Jaron removed the videos from his channel, trying to save the channel. Currently, he has 1 strike. Ah, okay. I don't really follow, but okay, that's the
Did he
explanation.
remove him or did he set him to private?
I don't know. I'll have to watch his video. Let's not speculate because we could spend all day on it. Just after the show, I'll watch
From
his
what I
video.
remember hearing him say, he did set him to private. He still has them. He just doesn't have them.
Yeah, that's
out.
correct.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's still a YouTuber. He's not going to disappear completely. Hopefully, it's a preventative measure. Well, that's good. That's cheered me up. You know, in other words, he's taking control. Good. That's much better to hear. Thank you very much for the super chat. Expand Your Mind 13. Really appreciate the info during the live show so we can get a bit of clarity out to the audience. Excellent news. Thank you for telling me. Where were we? Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius?
R? Nah, not even a little bit.
Well, if you just assume the Earth has to turn out to be a globe, then it's very easy to presuppose.
At this
That's
point in the
always
game,
the main function, isn't it? As long as you understand that it must be a globe, then there's no problem with assuming R at all.
Yeah, yeah. If you assume R, then there you go. You have R. Why not? Seems legit, right?
Yeah, if you can brainwash people to be on the base level assertion that they're already under the total knowledge and complete acceptance of a globe, then they're automatically going to beg the question without even realising it. Well, we already know, so it's perfectly acceptable for me to say if we're on a globe, then I'll travel antipodal to the southern hemisphere and watch stars rotate. Sorry, you'll do what now? You'll be upside down hanging off the bottom of a sphere when you go and make this observation. Why would you assume such a thing? Well, because we already know. Well, that's circular reasoning. You're supposed to be proving it. Well, no, I assume it's what happens when I travel to the south. I assume I'm then hanging off the bottom of a ball, so I can look at stars and say I'm hanging off the bottom of a ball, as I declared in my example.
well, after 7 housekeeping questions prior to this one, it's the R stands for "Are you kidding me?"
Concludes the housekeeping.
Can we go back to Coriolis for a minute?
Yeah, when they presuppose R, they can't be Euclidean me.
Euclidean
There
me?
you go.
Copyright, Neil.
Copyright Neil, 2020.
Were you in
Okay,
the previous
Coriolis is being connected to a force, right? So, but when it's just an observation from the ground, and not actual deflection because you're moving underneath something.
Well, that's what I want to establish from people like Simon Dan and Craig, who's now aligned with him. Do you guys not realise that Coriolis effect is observable from a non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath something not attached? Because you both seem to be fighting for the lack of drift. Clearly, you don't understand what Coriolis effect is.
Either that or they absolutely understand it, but they know how convoluted and just garbage it is as an argument. So they just have to doublespeak every which way they can because it just leaves them no choice. They have to.
Well,
because obviously we don't see it, right? Because if we saw it, we just see it, and we wouldn't need to talk about it because we saw it. All of us, we would just that would just.
Well, there's a claim they do, so maybe I can put that to them as a question, Chocolate. And this is courtesy of Quantum Eraser. Does Earth turn under the Foucault pendulum as it swings back and forth? Or not? Are your reference frames ruined? Or does Earth turn underneath the Foucault pendulum? Now, obviously, Earth isn't turning underneath anything, or we'd see things drift away, 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. But we need to ascertain whether or not you fundies, who tell us there's no drift, understand whether or not you have it underneath Foucault's pendulum as it swings in a straight line back and forth. Is Earth turning underneath as a second reference frame, or are they ruined? You tell me.
Well,
I didn't
maybe they should have a
understand.
conversation with Rumpus.
Oh, hold on, Brian. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Chris.
Chris, you go ahead.
Hold on, Brian. Chris first. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I listened to that the other day, and I don't understand Rumpus's claim for the cause. In if he's because he did say that he said it's not spinning underneath or whatever. So what is his argument for why it would apparently deviate in the first place?
Well, in that example, what he was claiming was gyroscopes have pendulums have an elliptical motion. Now, that's what he's claiming he's saying gyroscopes. That's what he's claiming pendulums just do. Now, obviously, that was humiliating. I've then edited that out and put descriptions of pendulums moving back and forth. That's what's being utilised to claim Earth turns underneath. Look, pendulums swing back and forth. Why is it then drifting? Well, because Earth's claimed to turn underneath. Now, when I put that to Rumpus, he'd rather be stupid, because he's a faceless, nameless troll, and declare that pendulums don't swing back and forth. Because sacrificing his own intellect, or perceived intellect, to an audience when he's a nameless, faceless troll is much better than conceding that, yeah, absolutely, it's claimed Earth turns underneath the pendulum as it swings back and forth in a straight line. That's why it seems to drift. That would be Coriolis effect. A claim that Earth turns underneath. Now, us saying this over and over again, that globe heads, fundamentalist religious zealots, think Earth turns underneath stuff not attached to give us Coriolis effect. When we keep saying that, they need to come here and tell us that that's not right, that that's sloppy. It just doesn't happen. We don't see anything drifting. Earth isn't turning. And they need to defend the fact that it doesn't exhibit that effect. That would be stuff drifting away at 15 degrees an hour, as is asserted by the pendulum and the gyroscope and the bullet and the football. But doesn't happen with the hot air balloon, or the helicopter, or the aeroplane, or you if you jump up and down, because Earth is not turning underneath, even though they claim it is. And we're going to get this well and truly tied down from here on forward. You and your reference frames, globe believers, have been ruined. Earth isn't turning underneath as a second reference frame. Just go and ask Dan. Or Craig, or Rumpus, who all very explicitly will tell you, no, Earth is not returning underneath. No, you just don't understand that there's no drift at 15 degrees an hour. So they'll all tell you how there's no drift. Earth isn't turning underneath. No 15 degrees an hour, right, lads? You sing it with me. Earth isn't turning underneath. We don't have Coriolis effect. It's ludicrous. Earth is stationary.
Yeah, but there's a problem. Craig and Dan need to speak to Rumpus, because Rumpus would claim on this show that the Earth is not rotating underneath the four-chord pendulum, but then he will claim later on in the evening on Randy's show that the four-chord pendulum is what proved that the Earth was rotating.
Underneath. You need to please expand on these. I know it's so easy to just shorten it. So he was claiming on Ranty's show that Earth was turning underneath the sun at 15 degrees an hour, was he?
Yes, and that the proof of this was that the four-chord pendulum is what proved it was the Earth that was rotating and not the sun that was orbiting us.
I see. So the gyro in its inertial reference frame spinning around, not drifting or deviating, has the cage move around that fixed frame in the inertial reference frame of a spinning gyro because it's claimed Earth turns underneath, something he spent about an hour denying to me here only hours earlier. It seems you've got a big problem, fundies. Rumpus here would rather deny understanding of how a pendulum works than concede it's claimed Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. People in the comments want to tell me 15 degrees an hour drift is what proves Earth spinning. So what's going on, lads? Simultaneously, we've also got other people telling us you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a stationary Earth and Earth spinning with atmosphere spinning with it. Again, no 15 degrees an hour Coriolis deflection in that justification for no difference between the two. No drift. So you need to get your ducks in a line, my friends. Globers who believe we spin need to figure out what the actual rhetoric is. And I'll tell you now what your rhetoric is. Your reference frames, 2 of them, with Earth turning underneath, is something that we don't experience in reality. Otherwise, flight times would be reduced and your ball would fly away 1,000 miles an hour on the equator when you threw it in the air. That would be because Earth turned underneath it? Yeah, that don't happen, does it? But Foucault says it does, and apparently snipers have to worry about it, and Neil deGrasse Tyson says Earth turns underneath a football, and apparently gyroscopes have proved it. Proved what, you ask? Well, proved that Earth turns underneath stuff not attached at 15 degrees an hour. Roll on the denial of something we never see. You need drift, globeheads. You need stuff to drift away. And it doesn't. Ask Dan. Thanks, Dan. No drift. You and your reference frames on the globe side have been ruined. You need 2 of them.
The pendulum,
I wish I could
Nathan.
ask.
One
Sorry
second,
about that.
chocolate. Sorry, the pendulum, Nathan. No, you're after saying the gyroscope a couple of times. It's the pendulum. So-called pendulum, not the gyroscope. That's
Same
what the
thing.
compass was
It's the
claiming.
same exact principle.
Okay.
In the case of the gyro's spinning in its own inertial reference frame. And the reason you see the cage twist around it 15 degrees is because it's claimed Earth turns underneath. Now, there's plenty of examples of mechanical gyros not drifting, with Earth not turning underneath them, but that's what Foucault claimed. He simultaneously claims the exact same effect with the linear, straight motion of a pendulum, back and forth, like you observe in a clock. But in the Foucault pendulum, what's that you say? Oh, it's drifting. Oh, well, it's not that pendulums have anything other than a back and forth motion. It's claimed Earth turns underneath the pendulum, same as the gyro. Well, if Earth turns underneath as a second reference frame, precisely what they're claiming in those 2 examples, then Earth turns underneath planes. But they simultaneously show us men being dragged along by tractors, not drifting, and explaining how stuff shouldn't drift at 15 degrees an hour as Earth turns underneath in their claim. So that's a big problem, isn't it, Craig? You telling us all about how we shouldn't have drift, when it's claimed you've got 15 degrees an hour as Earth turns underneath. Foucault's saying it. Bob's supposed to be proving it with a gyroscope and 15 degrees an hour drift that you say doesn't happen with your little man being dragged by a tractor. So no drift then. So no second reference frame turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. No Earth turn then. Maybe get Rumperson to tell me all about how I don't understand that Foucault is claiming Earth turns underneath the pendulum or gyro. That's a sloppy explanation. That actually they move together to not give you 15 degrees an hour drift that you need to prove Earth spins, right, lads? Yes, suckle on them.
Okay. I thought you were I thought you meant to say the pendulum, and you said the gyroscope and say instead, because you had said that earlier. You meant to say the pendulum, and you said gyroscope. So I thought, in case you're going to cut that piece out, just so you knew, that's all.
It makes no difference.
I think that
They're both Foucault claims. Doesn't make any difference if it's a pendulum or a gyro. The principle is that you've got an inertial reference frame from either the pendulum or the gyroscope. Gyroscopes spin in the inertial reference frame and don't drift. If you've got a bicycle wheel and you spin it on your finger, you turn your arm and not pendulum, I'm doing it myself now. The gyroscopic motion of the bicycle wheel stays in that orientation. In other words, it's not moving out of that orientation. It's in an inertial reference frame, not moving. That's what gyros do. Same as a pendulum. So they swing back and forth. That's the property that's being utilised to claim Earth turns underneath a gyro or a pendulum, to then later assert that, well, obviously snipers are going to have to account for this. Earth's turning under bullets. And obviously the goal was only scored because Earth turned under the ball. So we say, well, Earth would turn under aeroplanes, and it doesn't. And they say we wouldn't expect to see drift. Here's my example of a man towed by a tractor not drifting. So no drift then. No 15 degrees an hour. The goal wasn't scored because Earth turned under the ball. Bullets aren't needing accounting for Coriolis drift as Earth turns underneath them. Foucault was wrong when he said Earth turned underneath the pendulum to cause it to drift at 15 degrees an hour. He was wrong when he said the gyroscopic motion is interrupted at 15 degrees an hour because Earth's turning underneath it. That was wrong, right? You and your reference frames have been ruined. Yeah, we know. Stationary Earth.
Come on, Nathan, you just don't understand. Everything moves in lockstep with the rotation of the Earth, except when they point at things and tell you how they don't. Okay?
They want to have their cake and eat it, do they? Yeah.
I'd love to know why Rumpus's story changes depending on what show he goes on. That doesn't seem very consistent. What's going on there?
I can tell you, their claim is we have 15 degrees an hour drift, and we don't. So when you point out that we don't have drift, he'll deny we're supposed to have it and say single reference frame. And when you say what proof have you got for Earth spinning, he'll say Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour.
Well, that's a shame, because it doesn't.
This is the same guy.
They go somewhere else, and I don't know. That's crazy.
This is the same guy who said on this show in 2 different occasions, second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. Then said, I would never say such a thing. You know, of course it applies to the Earth or whatever. Like he said those 2 completely opposite things, and it's on recording. I have it myself. I know a lot of us have it.
Yeah,
he says that he does this all the time. It's his MO.
Yeah, he's a liar here to defend a false narrative of us standing on a sphere. With that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you first and foremost to both Discord and G+ Panels for making the live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, this will bid all of you watching live farewell. A massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Out of several times where I'll hear him not doing well on an argument in this show, and then he's on Ranties later on in the night, arguing with someone else, trying to pull the same argument. It's that kind of a thing. It's trying to save face type of stuff.
Utter bollocks. You just simply don't understand the arguments, Brian.
Oh, Rumpus waited till the after show.
Hang on. Okay, he's addressing me. Okay, what don't I understand, Rumpus?
Well, just about everything. I mean, you don't seem to understand very much at all. I mean, you've demonstrated this on numerous occasions.
That's a pretty broad.
He asked for clarity. He didn't give it him. So I'm willing to kick him out right now. This is a man who doesn't understand how a pendulum works. So he asked for clarity. He just reasserted his ad hominem attack. Didn't give clarity. The guy's a wanker. He doesn't understand how a pendulum works. I'm more than happy to remove him at this stage, given he's given 2 ad homs and no justification for either.
And the fact that it changes its angle means it doesn't go back and forth, does it? Because we have videos of a focal pendulum changing its direction. Therefore, what you claimed that on the Earth a pendulum just goes to and fro is obviously
the Earth spinning underneath that pendulum?
So is Earth turning underneath it?
You can go and see a video of this.
Is Earth turning underneath it? 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 Is Earth turning underneath it?
Demonstrating.
Is Earth turning underneath it at 15 degrees an hour? He's not going to answer. He can't. Yeah, he can't answer this, audience. What we need from now on is constant interruptions, because at this point he needs to obfuscate me asking if Earth, as is absolutely claimed by Globe Rhetoric, is turning underneath the pendulum to give us the apparent deflection from its straight path. Now that's what Foucault claims, but if Earth's turning underneath the pendulum, then things would drift away at 15 degrees an hour. So as I continually ask him if Earth's turning underneath the pendulum to cause the apparent drift, he's going to talk through it because he's lost. Earth's not turning, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, he'd simply say the claim as it's claimed. Foucault claims Earth turns underneath a pendulum. And it doesn't. So when I ask, does Earth turn underneath, he can't answer me.
Yeah, I don't see the problem. Just
Is he still here?
say it.
I don't care.
Nice beat.
Did someone mute him? I take it.
I don't know.
So what happens
Someone moved
when
him
he
to
says,
live
yes,
stream.
Earth turns underneath?
Good. Glad someone moved him. All he's here to do is try and salvage some dignity. And when I say, right, so your pendulum, with its back and forth motion, is what, shown to not be moving back and forth? Is that because Foucault claimed Earth turned underneath it? Non-stop Fundy muting. Because the moment he says yes, which is absolutely the claim, go and look up what Foucault's supposed to be claiming proves Earth spins. That would be 15 degrees deviation as Earth turns under the pendulum. A simple question about their rhetoric, you'd think he'd just say yes. Ask yourself this. Why is it that a claim made by Foucault about Earth turning underneath a pendulum would be denied by someone who believes the globe? Why would it be that he wouldn't just say yes when asked if that's the claim? Because it is. I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't happen. And he knows it doesn't happen. He knows Earth's not turning underneath. And the thickos like Craig and Simon Dan will overtly state it. And that's why he's here. Because they say you and your reference frames are ruined when their side needs them. That's why Rumpus is here.
So they're trying to throw Foucault underneath the bus with Smoking and Grass Tyson.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. Keep going. Keep throwing the purporters of your model under the bus. That just makes you guys look so much better.
Well, Rumpus is not actually doing that. Rumpus is still asserting it because he's trying to assert that the pendulum does drift. But he won't say it's due to the Earth rotating underneath it.
Yeah, that's the thing it's supposed to be proving. And when you say, does it prove the thing it's claimed to prove, the claim being Earth turning underneath, he can't answer. Because the moment he says, yes, Earth's turning underneath stuff, and we go, no, it's not. Earth's not turning under planes, not turning under drones, it's not turning under hot air balloons, it's not turning underneath a ball if you throw it up and down, it's not turning underneath anything. We can easily pummel him once he accepts the actual claim, but he needs to be debating against people who don't really understand what Foucault's claiming. Foucault's claiming Earth turns underneath the pendulum. So Rumpus, is it deviating because Earth's turning underneath? Won't answer. You'd think he'd just say yes, right, Fundies? But no, he's got to defend the fact that dickheads who don't understand the claim like Craig and Dan are saying reference frame ruin, no drift. So he's got to do something about that, hasn't he?
Is there any Globers in Discord? Can anyone tell us if the Earth is spinning underneath the pendulum there?
A massive Discord full. One of you coward globehead believing Fundy zealots, answer his question. Do you not understand that Foucault claims Earth turned underneath his pendulum? Hello, globeheads?
I mean, it shouldn't be hard. You guys call us crazy for saying the Earth's not spinning or moving in any way, shape, or form. So you should be easily able to say, well, obviously the Earth is rotating underneath the pendulum. Right?
Yeah, and we need one of you imbeciles to confirm what is easily confirmed by a simple Google search. It's claimed Earth turns underneath. Why would you be so hesitant to concede that? Why would you be so stupid to tell us that your reference frames are ruined when you need two of them and Earth turning underneath stuff not attached? Why would you be so stupid, Craig? That's right, I am now addressing the entire fundamentalist, religious zealot, globe-believing community. You think Earth turns under stuff not attached at 15 degrees an hour, and when we put it to you, you can't even concede that that's your claim, and it's because it doesn't happen. Earth is not spinning.
But you could think of it as spinning, but you'd
No,
be wrong.
you can't. You'd have Coriolis effect, Darwin. You can't think of it as spinning, otherwise you'd have things drifting away from you 1,000 miles an hour at the equator when you threw them in the air.
You didn't let me finish. It's because you would be wrong, though.
Well, that's what they claim.
Think something that's wrong, you know?
That's what they claim, Arwin.
I know. And it's what they're doing.
Maybe you want to say that pendulum is working, but has nothing with the air.
Dude, they think they're having their cake and eating it too. They have Coriolis effect without it having any effect, but they still point out how it does have an effect, even though it doesn't have an effect when you inquire.
Yeah, and when you ask what that effect is, i.e. is Earth turning under the pendulum, they can't answer. As soon as you say yes, so you say, all right, so Earth's a second reference frame then. So Dan pointing out that you and your reference frames are ruined and showing us examples without drift is in complete contradiction to the Foucault claim that we've got Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour second reference frame. Yeah, that's a big problem, fundies. You need to get your story straight. The claim that's supposed to prove we spin is Earth turning underneath and a 15 degrees an hour drift, stuff moving apart, drifting away, not drifting together. Not our reference frames ruined, you idiots. That's why you've got Rumpus all in a tiz, having to make himself look stupid by not knowing how a pendulum works.
Yeah, Dan might need to get himself a new greasy lawyer. I don't think Rumpus is working out very well.
Hey, Nathan, go to Master B. I got 2 pendulum slides for you.
Okay. Yeah, they're
Not
on.
that it really matters. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, I'll wait
go ahead.
after you.
Hold on.
You don't think
one
Rumpus
sec, just one
saying,
sec.
you're muting me, when he's obviously audible, you think that's a bad lawyer?
Yeah, bad tactics. 10th year demonstration. Foucault pendulum, no forces perpendicular to the oscillation plane. So the plane remains fixed in space while the Earth rotates beneath it. So they're claiming Earth rotates beneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour then? I wonder why Rumpus was so hesitant to concede that very specific detail that's supposed to prove Earth spins. You'd think he'd be all for telling us that that's precisely what it does. Right? Back and forth motion, Earth turning underneath. Is that what it's supposed to do, Rumpus? Time to turn on the fundy mute button up to 11, right? Dan has screwed you guys over so badly. You need to go and attack Dan. You need to tell that moron that you need second reference frame Earth turning underneath pendulums. Because he doesn't seem to understand. And Craig is backing him like the complete fool he is.
Not that it matters a whole lot, but it's something I pointed out before, but I pointed out again. It seems very strange that that a pendulum on a supposedly moving surface would have to be started to move. If the Earth was rotating, it would mean it would be moving, and all things that are hanging freely, whether it be a pendulum, a punching bag, a basket of flowers, they'd all be moving around the place. They could not be.
How about plums?
Just correct,
Yeah.
Brian. Yes, they'd start all by themselves if they were on a rotating platform. Imagine sticking a pendulum on a waltzer. Do you think it's just going to stay stationary? No, I assure you it would start moving of its own volition from your reference frame. Why? Well, because things are rotating beneath it. That's what Foucault's claiming. In that example, Earth turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to seem to drift from your vantage point. Oh, what's that? You don't want to concede that that's what you claim because that would mean flight times would be reduced when travelling west, and drones would drift away from you 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, and hot air balloons would be landing in different countries as Earth turned under them at 15 degrees an hour. Yet we don't see that effect. Best not concede that that's what Foucault's claiming, eh?
And the things would all be deviating, would be subjected to this Coriolis force or whatever you want to call it, because they're physical, they're solid or liquid, and those are susceptible to momentum, which is a side effect of a spin scenario. There's one other type of material that is not, however, and that's gas. Gas is not susceptible to momentum, so it will definitely go drifting because it will never move in lockstep with the rest because it's not susceptible to momentum. But that's kind of so remote at this point, you know. I'm trying to teach them about the consequence of their model, and they don't even know.
Right, Tenth, did you send me this paragraph about Foucault pendulum?
Yes.
Please, can you read it?
What was your question?
Please, can you read it?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, with a picture of a rotating platform to be analogous to the claim Earth is a rotating, non-inertial spinning reference frame. Yeah, do you want to read the paragraph? It's brilliant. Excellent. Thank you, Tenth.
Yeah, that's one with the chair, correct?
Yeah, is that what it's supposed to be? A spinning chair? It's like a lazy
Yes,
Susan, whatever
stool.
it may be, chair or
Yeah,
otherwise.
exactly. All right, here we go. The Foucault pendulum swings back and forth in the same plane while a stool is turned beneath it. Likewise, a Foucault pendulum on the Earth's surface swings back and forth in the same plane while the Earth turns beneath it. The amount of turning observed depends on the latitude of the pendulum.
Ergo, Earth would be a second, non-inertial spinning reference frame turning beneath things not attached. This would exhibit itself as a 15 degrees an hour drift. That would be things that aren't attached to the claim to be spinning Earth drifting away from you at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. So you launch your drone, and oh no, it's drifting away at 1,000 miles an hour because I'm turning underneath it according to Foucault. Yeah, that doesn't happen. But that's what Foucault's claiming happens, and they seem very hesitant to actually admit that that's what he's claiming when we put it to them, because that would mean Earth's turning underneath stuff not attached, and that would give us drift that we don't see. So they better quickly tell us how, no, actually pendulums have got a figure-of-8 motion. No, that would mean that they're not proving anything. If they're just naturally spinning a figure-of-8, which they don't, they swing back and forth, it's just claimed by Foucault that Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. Oh, what's that I hear cry in the distance? Is it the sound of Simon Dan? You and your reference frames are ruined. Oh, I don't have any, Dan, but Foucault's claiming 2 of them, and Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. Roll on your demonstration of a man not drifting, because that's not what he's claiming with this pendulum. He's claiming Earth turns underneath, and that would shorten flight times. That would mean drones drifted away at 1,000 miles an hour as Earth turns underneath, precisely as Foucault's claiming, and we do not see. Big problem, lads. Better sort it out. Better get your story straight. Thanks, Tenth. Epic.
Put that forward to us. I don't get it. Don't be scared. It's okay.
You want to ask Discord your question again? See if there's any more brave souls.
Yeah. To any Globers in Discord, if there are any, I'm not looking in there. Can any of you guys tell us if the Earth is spinning underneath the pendulum? Or not?
This should be a really easy answer, given that we've just put it up on screen based on your zealot globe rhetoric. It is absolutely claimed. It's just been read out. It's been put on screen. It's easy to cite. Why is nobody from the globe side saying yes? I'll tell you why. Because Earth doesn't rotate underneath anything.
Can I say something?
Yeah?
If we were on a ball channel, let's just say, and they said, are there any Globers that can explain how you can have gas pressure out of a container, I think we would answer. So what's the problem here?
Yeah, we've read out a citation for their claim and nobody's willing to put their name next to it. Yeah, we know why. Because Earth isn't turning underneath at 15 degrees now. Nothing's drifting away from us. Even though that's what Foucault is exactly claiming. But none of you are prepared to say, yeah, that we agree with Foucault. In fact, Rumpus will come along and deny the very tenets of his claim.
Nathan, put up the last GIF I just put. It's amazing.
So, unfortunately, they have to take the position, unfortunately for them, and us up to a point, they have to take the position that we mustn't understand because Earth has to be turning in their world, in their life. Earth has to be turning. So we have to be not understanding something. The flat earthers have to be wrong.
It has to be turning to the extent that they can't tell us that now. That's cute.
Yeah,
it's pretty sad, man. That nobody got Rumpus back. Come on, guys, you're gonna leave your man Rumpus hanging like that? Come on.
Oh, you're asking the antithesis. So, anybody on the globe side want to back Rumpus in his assertion that we just don't understand and that it's a sloppy explanation, as per this gift, to say that Earth is rotating under pendulums to cause them to appear to drift at 15 degrees an hour, as Earth is turning underneath as a second reference frame Dan says is ruined? Nobody going to get behind this nonsense? Yeah, in case you hadn't noticed...
Too sloppy.
Yeah, sloppy to say Earth's turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. All of you commenters saying Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. Oh, of course you don't say the Earth turning underneath bit, do you? You just say 15 degrees an hour drift. You don't actually highlight the bit that we don't see because we don't see it. And when it comes to us saying, well, Foucault says Earth turns underneath pendulums, you'll tell us that no, pendulums have a naturally elliptical motion. Yeah, making yourselves look stupid because you know Earth isn't turning underneath anything. It would be really obvious, wouldn't it? Things would drift away from you at 15 degrees an hour. And when we point that out, we need someone like Rumpus to clear up the mess of Dan and Craig, who are telling their audience, look, no drift. Reference frames ruined. What, the 2 reference frames on this gift that we've got? Showing how Foucault claims you've got 2 of them? Explain to us, Dan, whose reference frames are ruined? Given that this is a globe Earth example with 2 of them on screen for my audience. Maybe you can explain that, or maybe ask about diffraction, so I can segue into how the calculator you use doesn't include it. I don't mind which way you fundies die.
Think about the level that we've gotten to at this point, right? That now we are being told we are sloppy for saying the Earth is rotating underneath objects.
Yeah, but it doesn't look sloppy. That gift looks perfectly clean.
No, what they're saying is their whole model, their narrative is sloppy. That's what's sloppy.
Yeah. Sloppy, we're not saying it, you say it. Glovers, you say Earth turns underneath. Oh, what? No, we don't verbally say that because that might get us in trouble when you point out it doesn't. So that's quite sloppy to say that. We much prefer you just say 15 degrees drift. And leave out the bit that's Earth turning underneath to cause it. Yeah, you'd much prefer we didn't say that.
That was classic.
Yeah, your sloppy explanation
it's like
is
a
only...
boxing match and they're training in the corner before the round starts. Like, where do you make sure you don't hit him? Now make sure you don't hit him there, you don't hear him there. Well, we just like go straight for the punch places.
This is humiliating. Got a whole panel full of ballers. Is this really the case that we're talking about Foucault pendulum, a claim you guys make, and not one of you's prepared to put your mark next to it? How embarrassing. What a substantial loss. None of you prepared to say, yeah, Foucault's right. Earth turns under the pendulum at 15 degrees an hour to cause drift we don't see in drones or balloons. No one prepared to put their name next to this? What a shock. You're getting pummeled, Globers.
They're stuck in a kind of a funny position where they have to believe that the Earth and atmosphere is all rotating at one time, and the Earth is also rotating underneath things. And they have to take both those positions, and they have to believe that we are incorrect and we don't understand.
And what's even sadder about that is that they have to pick and choose who they say what to, right?
Exactly.
They can go to some other show and say how it is, the Earth is rotating underneath the pendulum, but they come here and they won't even say it out loud.
Damn straight.
Yep.
All right.
Pretty pathetic.
It's not safe.
And then if they do muster up the guts, they'll get hammered here, and then they'll go somewhere else and rinse and repeat again.
You got Ackenbars in here. Why isn't he chiming in?
Oh, apparently he will now because he likes to chime in when he's called out. So you just did the magic thing.
Ackenbars. Does the Earth rotate underneath the pendulum? Come on.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on, man.
Water's warm. No sharks.
If
What
you
the
don't
hell?
answer that question, you ain't black. Just kidding.
Wow.
Why am I
really?
hearing?
Come on, man.
Chocolate and I are very offended by that.
I know.
You mean Whitey from Arizona?
Enough of the racial nonsense, please. I'm sure I heard.
Akbar.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's happening? You conserving momentum?
Chilling. You say what?
Does Earth turn under the Foucault pendulum, as claimed on screen for my audience now, described by Foucault?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why doesn't it turn under a hot air balloon then?
Nah.
That's not an
Why
answer.
would it?
Bro, really?
Well,
Why
that's
doesn't it-
flat Earth.
Sorry.
Just that?
There's a problem, Virus. If it turns underneath the pendulum, it's a second non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath stuff not attached. That includes a balloon. Why isn't it turning under a balloon then, if Foucault's right?
Because everything moves together.
Well, then the pendulum wouldn't drift. So Foucault's wrong
Yes,
then.
you would.
Do you not understand at this stage
Why,
the contradiction?
why is that?
Because Earth is claimed to be a second reference frame turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to drift. And we're saying, if Earth's turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to drift, why isn't Earth turning under a hot air balloon to cause it to drift at 15 degrees an hour, as claimed by the pendulum, and you agree? So why isn't the balloon drifting away at 15 degrees an hour, Virus?
Because it shouldn't. There's no reason for it to.
Well, then the pendulum has no reason to do it then, does it?
Why are you comparing a pendulum and a hot air balloon?
I'm not. It's your claim by your side that's supposed to prove Earth spins.
No, it's not.
On screen for the audience right now is Foucault's description of how this directly relates to a claim that's supposed to prove Earth spinning. Something you conceded initially as true.
Okay.
No, it's not okay. It's a complete contradiction that annihilates the claim we spin. It's supposed to be demonstrated in gyroscopes, footballs, pendulums, bullets, but when it comes to anything that's in the air for any significant period like a balloon, you say it shouldn't happen. Well, that's a complete contradiction, isn't it?
No.
So Earth turns under the pendulum and Earth doesn't turn under a balloon.
That's not what Coriolis is about.
That's exactly what Coriolis is. An observation of things drifting because you're claimed to turn underneath them on a globe Earth, or if you're on a roundabout because you're spinning underneath things not attached to the roundabout. That's what Coriolis is. We've covered this with you. You're not that stupid. So, no, it's claimed Earth has this deflection of 15 degrees an hour as demonstrated by Foucault, something you conceded to. Now we're pointing out the glaring contradiction that nothing else is drifting away at 15 degrees an hour. And you say it shouldn't? Well, why did you concede that Foucault does exactly that then?
Who else besides Flat Earth claimed that it should happen over something that's hovering?
Neil deGrasse Tyson says that Earth turns underneath a football so that from the stands you observe it seem to curve through the goal as Earth turned under the football. That would mean that a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would take an hour and a half as Earth turned underneath the plane that was travelling over the stands as Earth turned under the football. But of course that doesn't happen. There's a glaring contradiction. Your priests like Tyson claim Earth turns underneath balls, and Foucault claims Earth turns under pendulums, but yet it doesn't turn underneath balloons or aeroplanes or drones or balls that we throw. So there's a massive contradiction, Virus.
So just because you want to compare hot air balloons and gyroscopes, we're wrong.
Sorry, no, it's not our claim.
Us. It's your narrative.
Your claim, your proofsy from this pendulum, your proofsy from the football, your proofsy from the snipers, your proofsy from the gyro. Hello? No, your claim. And your claim isn't exhibiting itself in a hot air balloon, my friend, or a drone, or an aeroplane, or anything else that's in the air. But yet you seem to agree that Foucault is showing Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. And the commenters seem to think Bob's proven Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying that Earth turns underneath a football at 15 degrees an hour, and yet it doesn't turn underneath a plane. Or anything else not attached. Contradiction? No, you say? Yes, Virus. A massive one. A big problem if you think Earth spins.
I want to know why
I
he
don't
thinks
think
it
so. Just
shouldn't
because
turn
you
under a
think
hot
it's
air
a
balloon
contradiction don't mean
if
it
it
is.
turns under all those other things. Why is
Because
the
it
hot air
doesn't.
balloon different?
Yeah, what he's saying, Neil, is you go up in a hot air balloon to watch the football game, and as you're watching the ball travel through the air, the ball will drift through the goal, but you can more than happily stay in a hot air balloon to watch that occurrence with the effect not happening to you. So the guy in the stands watching the ball seemed to take a curved path, but the balloon isn't. Right, Virus?
Yeah, why should the balloon?
Because it's claimed that's what's happening to the ball. It's claimed by Tyson Earth turned underneath the ball. But you're saying the blimp watching the game hasn't got the Earth turning underneath it, but the football has.
Right, because Coriolis is a little more than that.
Virus, you don't
ridiculous
realize how
people.
ridiculous that is, man. You don't realize how ridiculous your claim is right here.
Yeah, and you claim to be smart,
Ridiculous
a
is a matter of
mathematician.
opinion.
No, it's just a matter of us not having Earth turning underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour. Nothing's drifting. Even though pendulums are supposed to say that it does, and Neil deGrasse Tyson says footballs do it, it doesn't happen. Anything for a substantial period of time in the air, like the blimp watching the game, hasn't got Earth turning underneath it at 15 degrees an hour. If it was, you'd throw a ball in the air, and it would drift away from you at 15 degrees an hour.
Well,
Nathan, can I ask?
You can't say that it
Can I
does.
ask Virus a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Go on,
Can I
Pascal.
ask? Virus, if you were with
Yeah,
someone in a car and you're driving, are you stating you're not moving with that person in the car?
If I'm not moving, then yeah, I'm gonna say we're not moving. But if we driving, I'm gonna say we're moving.
I said if you are with a person in the car and the car is moving, you both are moving in the car, correct?
Yeah.
So what's the difference with the ball and the blimp?
Are the ball and the blimp riding together?
They're both in the air while Earth spins away from it.
Why is Earth spinning away from it? Wouldn't it retain its velocity?
Because it's claimed it does, you stupid dick. Don't you get it? We asked you if you thought Earth turned underneath the Foucault pendulum as claimed, and you said yes. Now you're asking us why it would do that?
No, I'm asking why y'all making the claims that
I'm not, you stupid idiot! You conceded to your claim made by Foucault that Earth turns underneath. Now you're asking me why that would happen. It doesn't happen. Earth isn't turning underneath. But it seems you're so stupid as you're now asking me why it wouldn't happen, even though you think it happens under a pendulum.
I guess you can't hear.
Wow, Virus. This is letting me down, brother.
With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.